Hello everyone and welcome to Virtue Uptech. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at this gorgeous 120Hz OLED 16-inch portable monitor from Eviciv. I picked this one up from their AliExpress store and I had no issues ordering from there. Affiliate links will be in the description down below. This portable monitor is also being sold under the Uperfect brand name. They're calling it the Uperfect OLED 02. Cdisplay are also selling it, and you can buy all these from their AliExpress stores, but Uperfect also have a website as well, so if you want to buy from them directly, you can do that. You may get a better warranty buying from them directly, although I've never had any issues with AliExpress, and most of the sellers on AliExpress are pretty nice, and yeah, I'm sure Eviciv would also stand by this product. So the reason I picked this one up is it's basically the world's first 3K 120Hz OLED portable monitor. 16-inch resolution of 2880 by 1800, I believe. Yep, 2880 by 1800, running at up to 120 Hz. Peak brightness is also around 500 nits. You can also get sustained brightness of about 500 nits as well. So this is not a dim monitor. It is very bright. For indoor use, you'll have absolutely no problems with it. And yeah, it's actually brighter than some laptop displays as well. It is really bright. Being an OLED panel, the blacks are really good. The contrast is amazing, and the saturation and the color gamut as well. It's just it looks really nice. The colors really pop out. It does have support for HDR as well, although when you're enabling HDR in these portable monitors, the colors look a bit iffy. On a Windows PC, you can calibrate it, but it still just looks a bit wonky. I prefer just having HDR turned off. If you're running it on a PlayStation, you can also turn on HDR. It looks a bit better on consoles. Again, you can calibrate it, but I always just find the colors just look a lot better with the HDR turned off, because once you turn on HDR, you lose control over the colors, the contrast, brightness, black levels, all of that stuff. It is sold in a touch variant as well as a non-touch variant, so I did pick up the touchscreen one. So here was another monitor that I reviewed, and yeah, the touchscreen is working just fine. Just waiting for the image to load. Yep, touchscreen works fine. We'll have no issues there. And you can also zoom in. And play videos on this as well. Let me just mute that here. Yeah, it looks amazing, the OLED panel, because I have been looking at a bunch of different portable monitors, and this OLED panel, it really just, wow, strikes you back just at how good it is. This being an OLED panel also means that the viewing angles on this are just really, really good. It doesn't matter how you're looking at it, up or down, left or right, you know, even from here, it just, wow, it's strikingly good. So taking a closer look at the portable monitor itself, if I just unplug it, what you get is the portable monitor. It does come with its sleeve. It's a protective sleeve. The front is a little bit flappy, but the back is attached on with magnets, and it is relatively secure. As for holding the tablet or well device, you can see here, you can also bear the weight of the portable monitor. If you want to pull it off, you just pull it off like so. In terms of the screen, it is a glossy screen, and you can see my lighting over here, but because of how bright it is, around 500 nits, reflection's not really ever going to be an issue indoors. If you're using it outdoors in direct sunlight, it might be, but you know, if you're using it in a coffee shop, if you're using it in an office, it's got a lot of brightness, and that more than makes up for the reflective screen. And I like the reflective screen, but I know some people prefer a matte or a diffuse. There isn't really much of a diffusion layer on this. So this monitor does come in that two different styles I've been seeing. Whether you're looking at the Eviciv store or the Uperfect store, there's one that's completely flat like this. It's a slate, and there's one that has like an incline, like it's thinner here, and then it has a little a bumper for where all the ports and buttons go. So my one has left and right speakers here. The one that has the little bumper design will just have the speakers at the backwards firing instead of side firing. I prefer the one with the flat back because it just makes it easier to, if I've got a little stand over here, it just makes it easier to balance on a stand. However, You do have Eviciv screws, you've got 4 of them, 75mm, and it came with the screws as well, which is quite nice. Some of the portable monitors that have Eviciv mounting support don't come with screws, and what I have found is you need to make sure you get the sizing right, their length right, otherwise you may just cause damage. So having the screws included was a nice addition. On the side, you do have 2 USB ports, and these are Type-C. They both support, you know, power delivery as well as Type-C display port alt-in. So you can theoretically power it with just a single cable, but I found it to be a bit iffy. And one cable sometimes worked, sometimes it didn't work. I believe this might be a software issue, just how it's been configured, because one cable should be enough to power it. You know, my device doesn't. Lowering the brightness or turning on low power mode doesn't seem to resolve it. However, if you run into issues with that, you can always just use 2 cables and the issue just resolves itself. One of the nice additions that I found in this as well is you can also charge your laptop through the monitor. So if you have 2 cables and your laptop takes Type-C, plugging in a Type-C cable here, like a 60 watts or 120 watts Type-C cable here, and then plugging one cable from the monitor to your laptop will charge your laptop as long as your laptop supports this feature, which is quite nice. So if you're just leaving it on your desk and you travel back and forth, then it makes it just one cable to charge your laptop and one cable to send power, to send a display output and touchscreen functionality on this as well. On the right side, you've got a bunch of buttons, really finicky. They feel okay. There's a nice tactile click, and they feel good actually, but they're just really finicky to use because I never know what's what. And yeah, they are labeled here on the back, but yeah, I just went, if I'm trying to make adjustments, I'm always just hitting the wrong buttons, and yeah, it's just a bit confusing to use, I guess. No headphone jack. But yeah, that's the monitor. So to show you what I meant with the display, here's a single Type-C cable, and if I just plug this into the monitor, it may or may just not work with a single cable. So powering it on, yeah, right now it's not working. Let me just press the on button, just make sure you really give this a chance. Okay, yeah, it turned on and it flashed. This is just one cable. I did find this can be resolved by just using 2 cables, one for the display. It's also got a mini HDMI port as well. But yeah, one for the display and then the second one for the power. And if you're plugging it into a USB port, then you need to power your laptop separately. But if your laptop supports Type-C charging and all that stuff, you can plug in your laptop power cable into the monitor itself. There you go. So I've plugged in, I've given it supplementary power, and I do need to unplug it and then just plug it back in just to reset it. And there's no signal, but yeah, there you go. Now the display is back on and it's working again. 2 cables. In terms of included cables, you do get one Type-C to Type-C. You also get a second Type-C to Type-C in the box. Then you also get a USB, I think Type-A to Type-C. This is for touchscreen or for powering it. If you're, if you've got like an older laptop that won't support touchscreen functionality. And then you've also got a HDMI to a mini HDMI, short cable. So if you're gonna, plug this into your computer or something, then you may want to get a longer cable if your computer is under the desk. But if you're just using it with your laptop, then yeah, this will be fine. So taking a closer look at this, you can just see how the function of the monitor works.
Update on our published on our website.
Volume, it is on 100% volume.
Insightful stuff as well.
And volume sounds okay. One of the best I've actually seen from a portable monitor, but it won't compete to a branded tablet, or even some mobile phones may actually sound better. It's quite thin, but it is loud. Yeah, one of the loudest I've seen from a tablet, and perfectly usable. Scrolling works if you get the touchscreen version, including zooming in, pinch to zoom, slideshows, all of that works. Just to take a look at the on-screen display, you've got brightness controls, contrast, eco, DCI, and sharpness, and then you can adjust the aspect ratio. So yeah, this shows how confusing it is to I just turned it off. Use the on-screen display. There you go. Okay, down, select. So you got 16:9, 4:3, and then auto. The main aspect ratios you got is 16:9, 4:3, and then auto probably just 16:10. That's the aspect ratio of this portable monitor. And then black levels, hue and saturation adjustments. Then color temp, really nice to see that. And then you can adjust all of this. HDR mode, low power mode, just makes everything really dim. May help with power consumption if you're using like a low powered power bank or something. And then yeah, volume, mute, and then type C. This monitor also has support for DDC-CI. This means that you can actually adjust the brightness, contrast, and all that sort of stuff from the Windows itself, just through the HDMI or Type-C cable. So right now I've got Monitoring installed. So you can see I can just adjust the brightness like so, just from the Windows operating system. And this is really useful if you've got multiple monitors, or you just want to be able to just plug in a monitor and just load a saved profile, saved preset, just load it in, or adjust the brightness from multiple monitors. So just to see over here, it is 2880 by 1800, 120 Hz, 8-bit RGB. I'll show you the HDR settings you get on this as well. So if you go into use HDR, yeah, you can see over here, HDR video streaming and use HDR is supported. And then when I did this, its own calibration checks, it's saying it's about 520 nits brightness, which is nice. But like I said, the colors don't look as good. This portable monitor is heavier than some other portable monitors, likely because it does. This one does have a touch screen, so it has like a glass front that adds some weight to it, and it is very rigid. It doesn't have flex to it because it's a glass screen. I wouldn't try and bend it, but it's well built, and you know, even if you're holding it from one side like this, it holds up just fine. It is well built. Corners are round. I've also noticed that the screen itself is rounded, so it's not like a square screen. Looks a bit odd at first, but you do kind of get used to it, and despite being a 16:10 screen, it does have a bit of a chin. I have seen some other LCD portable monitors that have less of a chin, less of a bezel at the bottom. So one thing I do see coming up is what the peak brightness is like and what the lowest brightness is like. This is right now 100% brightness. And I'm just going to turn it down 80, 75, 50, 30, 10, and 0. 0 is really, really dim. So this is a really dim screen, which is nice. I know some people, you know, from the comments I've been seeing, some people have eye conditions, so they want a dim screen. So that's 0, you can barely see it. It does, yeah, it dims a lot, which might be useful for someone, and it gets really, really bright, which again, might be useful for some people. This being an OLED display, it did make me realize one thing. The text does look a little bit soft. And this might be with the RGB, you know, the matrix that quite a lot of OLED panels are actually using. So despite this being 3K resolution, some, you know, QHD LCD displays might still look a little bit sharper. And this, you don't really notice it on images or in movies, YouTube videos, graphics, and all that stuff. But on text, you may notice it, but only if the text is very, very small. So I was using this for coding and Visual Studios. And yeah, if I had the display scaling set to 100%, the text completely readable, but it just looked a little bit soft. You can increase the sharpness in the on-screen display and stuff to try and make the text sharper. Windows has clear type as well, but just something to just bear in mind. However, you know, if you go up to like 125 or 150% scaling, which you can very easily do in Windows, that issue with the text appearing a bit soft, yeah, it kind of just goes away on its own, just because the text is just, yeah, it's just big enough that it just becomes mostly irrelevant. But overall, text is perfectly readable on this. But if I just like go on scaling and I go to like 80%, like, yeah, if I go to like 60, 75%, the text does look a little bit soft. Considering its strange resolution sort of choice of 2880 by 1800, I won't really recommend this for gaming on a PlayStation. It does support 120 Hz, but you know, you're not going to get native resolution support because the PlayStation supports QHD, 1080p, you know, 720p, 4K. It doesn't really support 3880, nor does it support 16:10 aspect ratios. So you will get black bars at the top and bottom. This being OLED won't be much of an issue. So I have just plugged in a PlayStation 5 and it's working. And there you go. So I did the test, and then VRR 120 Hz is also 144p is also supported, 60 Hz, 120 Hz, UVV 422 in the color space. And then current video signal is 2560 by 1440, 60 Hz. I'm on the menu right now, so it's not going to switch to 120 Hz unless I go into a game, but the support is there. Also, HDR, I just turned it off. Like I was saying, everything just looks better with HDR turned off, and it can be hard to calibrate. So, yep, you've seen how it looks on the PS5. I am just going to turn it back off with HDR turned off. It looks amazing. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see more portable monitors like this just being rolled out, introduced to the market now. This looks amazing. If you are looking to purchase this, there will be an affiliate link in the description down below. Just clicking on that, even if you purchase something else, really helps to support the channel. I do believe that the panel that they're using here might be similar to the Acer Swift X series, and I think Asus are also using a very similar panel. You know, it's OLED, same resolution, same brightness claims, same frame rate. So this might be where they're sourcing it. So seeing those laptop panels, those OLED 120Hz laptop panels move over to portable displays is a good sign. And with Eviciv and Uperfect Cdisplay and these colors now bringing these to the market, we may also start seeing it from some other brands, and maybe even start seeing more of this panel being used in portable monitors.